Hi everyone, this is Suzanne Wagner and welcome to your Daily Numerology and Astrology for July 26th, 2020. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 19, and if you add the 1 and the 9 together, you get the number 10. The number 10 is the number of power and radiance, boldness and courage. I like to think of it like the Bo Derek Perfect 10. That within each of us there is a power that lives, and at different points in time in our life we're asked to show up with that power and to step into our power, or to draw a line in the sand that has a clarification for those around you. So today is one of those days. This is a number of power and the games that power can play. Power can be used with integrity or not. Power plays can be inflicted upon you, or you can stand in your own power and resist the intentions of the power that others want to use over you. One of my teachers said to me, the only way anyone can ever control you is if you are controlling yourself first. Then you are like a box with a pretty bow on it, and others will be able to pick you up and move you around in the way that gives them control. One key to owning your own power is to first never give your power away to another. Another key is to constantly allow for your wildness to have space in your life to explore and express. Never hand over your personal autonomy, wildness, or independence to others. There are, of course, consequences for all your choices from that point on, because you cannot blame another for your choices or actions. And people love to blame others instead of take responsibility. Standing in your power is all about choosing to learn from experiences. Those experiences are all about trying and failing over and over again until you learn some wisdom and have the clarity and discernment that is necessary to navigate the complex patterns in life with grace and confidence. There are so many in the world that need to belong and be a part of a community, whether that is a belief system, a religion, a political party, or any of the other possibilities. They believe that is what they need to feel safe. All that indicates is that you choose to allow others to define the rules by which you live your life. You choose to be dictated to and told what is right or wrong without feeling into a situation and making your own choices. It is the lazy way to navigate life. And it indicates a person that never really grew up on a responsibility level. That way, you're never at fault. Someone else is. You are never wrong. Someone else is. You do not need to apologize because you were duped. It is so easy to pass the responsibility on to others. An evolving soul eventually realizes that you are not living a real life. You are living a life in a safe cage that someone else built. And while that might have worked for a while, it got boring at some point, and now you want to reach out of that cage and discover what is really out there in the world for yourself. That is the moment when you reclaim your power. In that choice is a place where you no longer fear making mistakes and are willing to risk safety for discovering your own truth. The astrology today is pretty simple. So on Sunday, the moon is still in social Libra. While there might be some minor emotional bumps, just work on transparency so struggles just move through you. Don't label or attach anything to some deeper meaning if there really is none. Be fair and work towards harmony. Know that there will be those people that are still restless and competing for the crumbs that they want to fight over. Try not to engage in petty acquisition. You are worth more than the crumbs being offered. You may see the more serious side of the Libra moon as it squares Pluto, and then in the afternoon it will also square Saturn. Ambitions are going to clash with duty and responsibility. It can make a tough choice more difficult to make. Try to make sure you include others in safe ways. Be polite, be willing, try to compromise, look for the things that are inspiring to others. My quote for today, I borrowed from one of my friends on Facebook that they put it up, and this is by Marcus Aurelius. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not a truth. By Marcus Aurelius. Nothing like the great thinkers in life. Okay, my blog for today. I've actually been thinking about this for a couple of days, and I think back to my life, to the many workshops that I have participated in and also put on for the expansion of consciousness in myself and others. I loved the first workshop I ever went to in my early 20s, but I was terrified of discovering something buried that I had wanted to stay buried, terrified of others seeing my vulnerability, terrified to look silly, terrified of not being able to break through. Workshops are places where you stretch out of your safe bubble and shatter your illusions of what you perceive about yourself. There is a level of fear that is unprecedented in your experience, and every cell in your body thinks that you are going to die. Oh, something will die, but it's not your physical body. It is that something that is more afraid to die than your body, your ego. The process of shattering the ego to allow your true self to emerge is an inner battle worthy of Star Wars. I think of my ego as the very hard shell of a Brazil nut, and it is almost impossible to break that shell. It takes skill, understanding of the shell, which is the ego, and fortitude to break it so that the delicate part of my true self is not broken also, but can finally be free and grow beyond the limitations imposed by my ego. And for everyone, it is a similar process. I bring this up at this time because now in this world of COVID-19, all the personal growth workshops and retreats are halted, and all those amazing facilitators are not able to give their gifts during this quarantine. Many are trying to do things remotely through Zoom and webinars, and I commend them for their efforts. But there's nothing like the process of immersion. Being immersed in a journey together with others and recognizing that within a group dynamic are all of the archetypes that make up the world is a revelation unto itself. You discover that within a microcosm is a macrocosm of all the essential elements that you need in that moment to grow. Sharing on a deep emotional level with others in a way that allows your vulnerability to be seen and to see the vulnerability in others tears down the walls that the ego had so carefully built up as a false self. And you recognize that the energy that it takes to maintain that false self is enormous and not worth the cost. Once you let it go, you have an infinite storehouse of energy to work with, because within your soul is its own nuclear fusion chamber. You are limitless beyond your own imagination. The freedom you experience by dropping the pretense of the ego is fueling that is a journey that cannot fully explain to another human being. But it can be shared and witnessed by others. I bring this up because in our world right now we are so isolated, and while I believe that many need to learn to stop and feel what they have been avoiding feeling, I miss that raw, real, deep engagement on that miraculous level that is uniquely human. I think back on the tremendous impact that my teaching workshops and the Wild Women Symposiums have had on others, and that is not viewed through the eyes of my ego that needs to be self-important. It is viewed through the words, sharing, and emotional connection that others have given to me in return. And I feel sad because so many have said to me, I so wanted to come to your relationships workshop or your Wild Women Symposium, but something came up and I went into avoidance and I did not believe that I was worth giving the gift to myself. And now that they are not happening, I have missed out. I reflect on how true that is. Even though I believe that everyone shows up that is supposed to be there, again, not from an ego perspective, but from the hard truths that are the reality in our world right now. The truth is that workshops take a tremendous amount of energy, time, and effort. Logistically, they are complicated. Running workshops that last for days takes planning and organization as well as a flow and a lot of creative wiggle room. Because when you are dealing with real people with real emotions, things do not ever go according to plan. I recognize that I will be 60 years old in less than a month, and that I can feel the energy shifts that naturally happen with the aging process. I can feel that the priorities within my own life are changing, and that certain doorways will close. I share all of this because the next time you want to take any workshop or go to any event that allows for the expansion of your consciousness, I want you to remember my words and take that risk and make the time to follow the intuitive promptings in your heart. Because as a facilitator, I know that what that teacher is trying to give you is priceless and worth much more than the price of admission. What the teacher is giving you is the very core of their wisdom and experience. What that teacher is giving you is a piece of themselves that is so precious to them that they feel compelled to share it. What I know is that while teaching is fulfilling in so many ways, it is not about the money that it generates, but the selfless karmic offering of truth that is the motivation behind it all. And I know that such things do not last forever. Such things are fleeting. If you do not leap, you may miss a special doorway that may not come back in this lifetime in the same way. Teachers age and decide to let the intense effort of the workshops go. Priorities change. The lessons of society dictate the next level of growth that is needed, so the focus of workshops changes also. Someone said to me when I was in my late 30s, "Oh, it's so great that you have had the financial ability to do all these workshops for your own growth." I try to explain to them that when I was a dancer, I made only $17,000 a year, and one year I spent $10,000 of that money on personal growth workshops, yoga retreats, and meditation retreats. My dinner was cheese and crackers. And if I knew what I know now, I would have spent more than that. The process of internal realization is the real journey in this life. You are here to discover who is really inside of you. You are here to step past your fear and discover the infinite self that exists beyond your ego and mind. It is a journey that everyone will take at some point. You only get to decide when and with whom you are willing to take that risk. Do yourself a favor. Don't miss the doors that present. While all doors may not be right for you, feel into each one and listen to the whispers and promptings of your heart, then follow that. I know that you will find your way through the maze of confusion that is the human condition. Everyone does, eventually. The soul always defeats the ego. I hope your journey is enlivening and fulfilling. I await to see you on the other side of your shell. Thanks, everyone.